Hello, my name is Ethan, and welcome back to another episode of Path of Exile Forbidden Sanctum 3.20. In this episode, I'm going to be going over the Balance Manifesto for the Eldritch Altars and also the Balance Manifesto for the Curses. I've already read through both, and I'm going to be going through the TLDR and not reading the entire thing and more going my thoughts on it, and my opinion of both, because I feel like I've already given time on this one, and then they already posted this, so this one's the fresh one, and this is like one of the main points that has been standing out. Occultist is weaker. They put the malediction on the Atlas tree instead of the ascendancy, and then they enfeeble and temp changes, but like it's positive, so that's cool. But let's go through the Eldritch Altars quickly first. So pretty much, to sum this up, these also seem like technically can be taken in a positive direction if you look at it from a glass half full. So if you don't worry about the altars, then you can be happy about a Maven Witness map bosses to drop an Awakened Gem inclusive of the Awakened Gems that are typically exclusive to Maven herself. This is a massive buff to witnessing Maven map bosses. And then you wouldn't even worry about the altar changes if you're running just Maven Witness and doing that. And then there's a ton of other changes, and there's actually technically some things that could be taken as positives for the altars. So I'll give you the first like negative that people have, which is we're making changes so that redesign the Wrath of the Cosmos, and Wrath of the Cosmos and Eldritch Gaze can only be applied to the map with their influence. So no more stacking both on one influence. You have to dedicate if you want to do that one. And then the other thing is they said these specific they made new rewards. The rewards are different too, so these specific rewards will be split between the two influences so that they're exclusive to one altar. So each influence is going to be massively different, and you could allow target farming of these rewards, because if you do only one of them, you'll be missing the other one's rewards completely. They will not be like this generic thing. So like, for example, no longer offers reward types like gem, influence items, unique items, or maps. So this gave a lot of maps, a lot of unique items, a lot of gems, lots of GCP 21s, etc. Influence items. Like, this is big. The basic So they even give an example. The basic currency reward has been split up into specific currency rewards. For example, they now have map boss drops 3 Val Orbs instead of map boss drops 3 basic currency items. So you know that thing where we just had Arch Nemesis tying difficulty to the exact reward, and where you're now, before you had, like, let's say you saw this would drop basic currency, so you're like, there's a chance it could drop something really crazy. So then you are weighing your exact difficulty against like the potential, but here we're going to be getting exacts now, like the Arch Nemesis reward. So I find that kind of interesting. And yeah, because then wouldn't that cause us to like skip certain altars just because of the rewards? But then it also says altars no longer offer some basic rewards like Orb of Augmentation, Orb of Transmutation, Blacksmith, Whetstones, Armor Scraps. And then it also, the currency drop weights are still adhered to for these rewards, so with the removal of basic rewards, you'll see good currency a lot more often. So that's also included. So it's like, wait, this is a buff to the currency? And then a separate thing, Scarabs and div cards have been split up into specific rewards. For example, rather than simply div cards, you'll now see things like div cards with reward unique jewelry. So this reminds me of like strong boxes that again, you will probably find some where we don't care as much, and the other ones will care more about. and so you'll start targeting them, and you probably will be skipping some, and based on the difficulty of the mods, because you'll be seeing, they did this too. The amount of influence pack spawned by the altar was reduced by 33%. So I was thinking, if there was, let's say, 100, and it gets reduced by 33, we have 66 now. It's quite a lot less. But then the chance of influence altar spawning has been increased by 50% to offset this. So you're going to be getting more altars. So more choices and more downsides, which then you may skip them to because the reward isn't that good, because you get to see the reward. And then that might speed up gameplay, because you could just look at the reward and just skip it, for example. We'll have to see all of the things they did, but definitely seems like then it's really targetable. So then they buffed Maven, and then the altar thing is unclear. Like, it's supposed to be a nerf, but at the same time there might be new ways to optimize it that actually saves you time, and in return actually gets you more loot in less time with easier, because there's less monster. So then can't stack them. Yeah, the final thing is that they actually mention scarabs in this post. Scarabs because they're offered by the altar. Scarabs are offered a lot less from altars, and then to make sure that we're not worried about the scarabs, but we don't want them to be scarce as a whole. To help balance this out, we're adding rusted scarabs to the core drop pool. We're also adding a vendor recipe that can be used to upgrade scarabs between tiers using the usual 3-to-1 ratio up to gilded scarabs. We're also adding an upgrade button in the fragment stash tab that can upgrade your scarabs like the one in the essence tab. So we never were able to do a 3-to-1 ratio on rusted to gilded. And then buffing the fragment tab, so it's like the essence tab, because like where you'd have like hundreds and hundreds of rusted breach in the end, or hundreds and hundreds of rusted shaper, and you're never going to use them, and then they sell for literal pennies, where you'd have to do full, like, they made them stackable, and people still didn't really buy them. I would swap them to other rusteds with the vendor recipe, but then even that wasn't worth it because it was such a high cost to swap them. So this is gonna be free upgrading of things that we weren't using, so that's really good. That's really nice. This is huge. That's gonna feel really good. I can't wait to have too many and then upgrade them. Nice. So overall, it feels like you could run Maven Witness map bosses to target awakened gems, and we'll see what the odds are, but you have to farm a lot of them technically just for the thing. And it's good that it's incentivizing or rewarding you for running 10 different maps rather than just running the same map with a bunch of free monsters and bonuses. So yeah, that's really cool. So overall, this actually seems pretty good. They're trying to also buff boss drop rewards from the altars to make it so it's not worth rushing the boss, and you can just play normally. So that's cool. So yeah, overall, Eldritch Altars seems like it's changed, and it doesn't have to be worse. It depends on how you interact with it, which is probably going to be skipping. And we'll see what the nodes are, because if they've changed the keystone... Oh, they just changed it so they don't only apply to their own. Oh, okay. Now, the curses. Alright, and then, like I said, the curses is, also seems positive. So they generally say, hidden monster penalties against curses has been removed, which this is way bigger than we think, because, which I know, but like maybe the average person doesn't, because this has honestly just been ingrained into my head for a long time, because I'm a POB nerd, and it's been in there forever that when you spec your build against bosses, pinnacle bosses, then you get 66 less curse effects. So I don't even put my curse in my calculator. Honestly, I just count it as not even doing anything on the bosses. I've been doing this for a long time, but now hexes are stronger against unique enemies, or at least twice as strong against pinnacle bosses, but weaker against regular monsters. Which oh, that's insane. That makes curses okay. Cause 66% less. Well, dude, my curse just got like triple the effect. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, the Doom mechanic has been removed to simplify the hex system. Anything related to Doom has been reworked so it's comparable to before. The occultist loses. Well, okay, the occultist ascendancy class has had some stats removed and moved around to counteract some of the power gained from the above changes. The specifics on that was they removed malediction and put it on the Atlas passive skill tree. And then they also moved it so your hexes can affect hexproof stat has been moved from Profane Bloom to the malediction one. And then they mention buffing the uniques, buffing the skill gems based on their level, so that apparently some weren't scaling up to level 20 the way that others were, so they wanted to buff that too. So just a buff to, but basically if you didn't use curses, they're probably even better now, especially at high levels. High level curses is being pushed, and enfeeble and temp chains is buffed, so they're stronger against unique and rares where they had less effect on it. They're now maybe just removing that, and so they're more powerful. We don't know the exact numbers. And then they also, some less accessible sources of curse effect has been removed, so we're not getting tons of curse effect. It's actually tons of base free power to curses, because of the not losing 66% alone is making your buff, your curse 3 times as good, besides this individual buffs to single curses. And you don't even have to worry, like the occultist thing is more like trying to get curses across more builds and putting it in the tree, taking some of the best stuff, where still letting occultists have the explode and the hexproof, which is still huge. I think that damage reduction might end up being core in like most builds though, because malediction sounds really good if you get less damage in every build. That's a lot less damage. Hex gems have been rebalanced with the goal of ensuring that self-cast remains relevant compared to automatic curse application. We buffed a bunch of hex-related unique items. So they actually show 2, and they say there's going to be new ones. So this one is like insane. Your curse limit is equal to your maximum power charges. So you could pretty much run every curse just with that. And they buffed this from a +1 to a +2, and from 20% to 30%. And it's blasphemy, so it's 4 curses with the +2, and the levels are going to be buffed. They said the scaling is buffed, and it's level 2 blasphemy. That's pretty cool. Nice helm. Pretty much like one of the top tier curse helmets. It's really cool. And then the curse, this stuff, especially the temp chain thing, reminds me of Asenath's Gentle Touch. And so your curses, well, you wear a glove and you put curses, and then your curses linger after death, and they stay, and then they keep recursing the stuff that spawns or walks into it, or like in Delve, or because that's actually where I use it in Asenath's Gentle Touch block build with, yeah, like triple curse, Jinx Juju also comes up for me because it's the curse effect Spectre Ami. And then so Asenath's General Touch, and you curse everything, and then everything that's cursed would explode, and it can scale with your minion damage if you pick that one node on the tree. I think the item's gonna be really expensive because of Occultist nerf plus curses being ridiculous. Because if you're just running curses because they're stronger against bosses now, then your mapping would just have curses, and if things are cursed, they explode. It still makes Occultist really good, actually. Especially the hexproof thing, because that's still a thing. Especially, I believe there was an Arch Nemesis mod that could make a monster hexproof through the Hexer Arch Nemesis mod. I want to check that. Give me a sec. I have found it. So the Hexer had hexproof, and then summons an invulnerable hexing effigy that places 3 randomly selected hex areas chosen randomly from temporal chains and feeble elemental weakness, punishment, and vuln. Now, literally a boss. This is a boss's effect. Just saying. What the fuck, dude? This was a boss's effect on a mod, on a rare, and it was hexproof, so you're fighting it because it was actually a boss. It was a boss. Yeah, at least this was a thing. I didn't even know this at first either. I thought that the less effective curse was affecting my mark, and it was tilting me, and then I learned that it's a mark and not a curse, and that they're separate, and then that's why they're buffing the curses, because they were super weak in comparison. Then marks were really insane and really worth using. Now they're making curses worth using. This is huge. But yeah, hexproof. Monster will with it to be unaffected by hex curse, but can be bypassed under certain conditions. Hexproof doesn't affect mark curses. Hexproof is not curse immunity, which prevents both hexes and marks from being applied. Hexes on hexproof enemies can still accumulate doom, but only if the enemy are affected by the hex. The player can have this buff by stealing it. So yeah, and we could be hexproof. Cool. Which I was through the Inspired Learning. Dude, it's gonna be interesting to see the new mods after they, like, what they do with this because of the Inspired Learning and the Headhunter. Very cool. But yeah, hexproof. So Occultist still stands. And oh, there's one more thing. They mentioned flammability. They said, for example, the one that used to grant flammability effect now allows your flammability hex. This is for Cluster Jewel notable. Your flammability hex to apply to hexproof enemies, and also causes your ignites on cursed enemies to deal damage faster. So I think that's your ignite and wouldn't be your minions. But then allowing your flammability to affect hexproof enemies is literally a cultist in a Cluster Jewel, which is like really powerful, but then it might only be flammability. And then the fact that they did the your ignite thing, yeah, because I think about minions, obviously. I'm gonna think about our stuff, but I wonder what else has changed, because this is pointing out that there's a lot of changes, and this is just the beginning of the changes. This is just showing you like the tip. But curses are fucking huge now, specifically bosses and rares where you really needed them. Nice. Holy shit, dude, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. And then the hexproof thing is still probably gonna exist though, I think. And then the hexproof mod on maps, you have to be careful of that too. So if you want to run curses more and then you run a hexproof, then that map boss is gonna be difficult. But overall, I like them making Maven Witness more, making it better, and the fact that you could technically target and make a build around Awakened Gems because they are farmable before the bosses now. you could actually put them in your build. You could farm them. Like, you could just keep running maps, killing map bosses, getting these awakened gems. Sure, it may not be likely, but if with enough time, enough maps, enough farming, we don't know the odds yet, but then you should be able to technically get some power upgrades, kind of like doing heist and doing alt qual gems. But in the case of this, for us specifically, for just as an example for physical builds, which this would be everyone running maps with Maven Witness, which you just do be in the beginning, because you have to do the unlock. You have to witness her and do the different invitations, and get up to the 10-way, and do the tier 14 10-way, right? And then, or witness at least tier 14, tier 16, and then you have the other one where you still have to do the influence one too to unlock being able to actually have Eater of Worlds and Searing Exarch, right? You have to do the higher, one tier higher of map each time. So people are going to be playing the influence. People are going to be playing both altar types automatically just for unlocking the game, and they're going to be doing the Maven Witness. So my point is, these Awakened Gems are just going to be printed pretty early, like day 2, day 1, and this is really crazy because normally it would have come only from big bosses, and then they're really expensive. So is this going to lower the expense, or at least make it somewhat as an option that you could do this? Because then in our build it would get Intimidate and Crush and the extra level with Awaken minion damage, and the fact that you can get Awaken Multistrike and it doesn't even need to be leveled up. It's just an extra repeat and extra damage. Yo, like, imagine you're witnessing some Maven map bosses, and is it tier reliant too? Well, you have to for the witness, I guess, but don't you build up the witness tier? It starts low and then goes higher as you progress, like tier 5 at the beginning or something. This is really cool. This is really cool. Like, the other thing, though, that it's actually not even that broken giving you Awaken Gems because of what they did to Awaken Gems however long. Like, when was that change? They changed Awaken Gems so that you have to level them up to get the extra bonus effect that you really want from them. Otherwise, they're just like a small upgrade to the level 20 gem until they're leveled up, and they get that extra effect, which gets them to be like 10% better, and the extra stats. So then the final, it used to be the quality. It used to be quality, dude. You get like 20 qual and then that unlocks the effect, but it was like a hidden thing, I guess, and it's way, but this is still hidden too, of leveling it up. So it doesn't really solve that. And the Scarab thing seems really sick, because that's been a thing for a long time, and I honestly tried to vendor recipe the Scarabs into better ones last season, and then yeah. And with the changes to harvest, like, with trade, would you really be using your stuff on the Scarabs to upgrade, like, Rusted? No. So this was really necessary. The Rusteds were just dead late league, and probably super dead in standard, because people would just be using better Scarabs. Especially Rusted competes on the tree with Fortune Favor. No. What's it called? One sec. Yeah, Rusted Scarabs compete with Stream of Consciousness because there's like 2 factors to this. You could just use Stream of Consciousness and make it so you can't use Scarabs, and then your maps have the 50% more base chance to contain extra content. And you can block all of the extra content so that you specifically get certain things that you can't even Scarab. Also, the Scarabs could be the ones that we're thinking about are the shit ones that you don't even really want to run. So, like, this is huge. It's huge, because then the Stream of Consciousness was kind of just sick because it was free. You don't even have to run the Scarabs. You don't have to put in anything. You didn't have to have the Scarabs. You just pick this, and then you can't use Scarabs. and it even like puts a weight that you have to actually have some good investment to not take stream of consciousness, because it's actually so good. It's such a big buff for free from the Atlas passive skill tree that you actually have to invest even more in your maps to compete with it, because people are just running this for free, and the only cost really is the map, where you have to put all this investment. So then you put all these rusteds and you're missing stream of consciousness, which could buff things that you actually can't even Scarab, for example. So it's like not even compare. It's really crazy. Really crazy. So this Scarab thing is just a good change, because it's honestly modernizing Scarabs, bringing them up to up to date with what's happening in the actual game. Maybe they should be, they clearly like stream of consciousness, then that's what they're saying. But yeah, that seems to be forcing some stuff. And we'll see how the altars work out, because like I say, imagine you find an altar now. This is where I already thought about it. So you find an altar, and it says, map boss drops 3 mirrors. What do you do now? Holy shit. Is that gonna be a thing? Instead of 3 basic currency and then finding a mirror, you're gonna find the altar with it and already know it's gonna happen. Like, that's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. It's gonna be different when you're looking for the altars and not the, and then like even when you get, like, let's say the minions drop currency, like the specific Val orbs, then is it gonna what if you don't, then you don't drop any of that specific, like it says minions can drop mirror, and then there are no more minions, so you don't drop it? Or like the chance was so low, or is it a guarantee, or like how does this work? It's pretty interesting, because even though you get the choice, only map boss would be a real guarantee, and then where basic currency and we had a chance for mirror, we wouldn't really worry about it. I don't know, it's kind of funny. I've already thought about that. So it seems like it's a buff in general though, to thing, except for the pack size, which you can actually get the pack size kind of back with grand design. The base pack size is reduced, and you could grand design before, but like technically if there's more altars, then you could just increase the amount of packs, and then there are more altars to offset it, and that'll still work out pretty good probably. And then, like I said, you'll probably actually be skipping altars because they might have bad mods that you don't want to do, and you can actually feel more free to skip them by choice, because you're being offered so many. You might be overwhelmed to where you want to skip them. Overall, positive. Cool. I look forward to the expansion reveal. Let me show this. So we have the Forbidden Sanctum reveal in 3 days from now, and it says it's at 2 p.m. EST. Nice. All right. So it's, yeah, December 1st, and then 2 p.m. EST, and I'll be streaming it, co-streaming it, and I'll be live reacting. So tune into my live stream. It's in the description below. Comment your thoughts on the curses and the altars. Any curse lovers? Do you like do you want to curse the boss? Do you want to run some temp chains, some enfeeble? Come back to my hardcore where I run the enfeeble. Yo, are they gonna revert cast when damage taken mana cost? Like, oh shit, mana. Either way, temp chains is gonna be fucking broken on bosses, dude. Enfeeble bosses, holy shit, that's what they want us to do. But the only thing I have is when the bosses aren't cursed and they mess you up, like what if you have to apply the curse because you're self-cursing, and then the boss is so crazy that it kills you before you curse it. Rip. Just curse everything, dude. Why is it not cursed? True. Either way, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. If you've ever cursed, like the video. And if you guys like the video and made it to this part in the video, hit that subscribe button so you guys are notified of the next one. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye!